So welcome back to Drum Electric. Today we're going to be looking at some reverse snare. Welcome back to Drum Electric. In this video, we're going to be looking at some reverse snare. So this is a little something to add just a little bit of spice to your playing. Or if you're going into playing more EDM stuff, so electronic dance music. Or if you're playing some pretty hefty dubstep. Either way, it's something new to try. Now this video came from inspiration from songs like Panic Station by Muse or Radioactive by Imagine Dragons, that sort of style thing. Just, you know, something you listen on the radio and you go, ooh, how do that? So there are a couple of reference tracks if you don't really know what I'm talking about. If you know what sound you're going for and this is to help you along the way, perfect. In the demo at the beginning of this video, I used three things to get that sound. I used the Roland SPD-SX, a snare trigger, and a kick trigger. Now the snare trigger and kick trigger you don't need. All you need is a sample pad of sorts to put the reverse snare sound on. I just have the kick and snare trigger just to enhance my playing and just to make it sound a little bit more beefy. So the snare sample is really easy to get. It's just the sample reversed. That's it. So if you want to get the exact sounds that I'm using in this video, then for the snare drum, I'm going to be using the 1984 snare from the Alesis sample and loop library. The kick is the Kick Fat 4, again from the same place, and then the reverse snare is just the reverse of the 1984 snare. If you're looking for places to get samples, then I highly recommend either YouTube, Epidemic Sound, or just a quick Google. If you're using the SPD like I am, there's also a bunch of built-in ones, so just have an explore, see what you like. Okay, so once you have your sample, just head on over to software of your choice. I'll be using Logic in this video, but this works on Audacity and other things, Pro Tools, for example, Cubase, if you're into that. You just may need to look up how to reverse an audio sample. But in this case, I'll be using Logic, and we'll just run through quickly how you reverse that audio. Okay, so once you have your sample and you've chosen it and you're happy with it, we're going to head on over to our software of choice. Now in Logic, all we do is we create an audio track, then we're just going to drag in our sample. There it is there. Zoom all the way in. Okay, I like to drag my audio sample right to the beginning just because I'm like that and it makes sense to me. So once your audio sample is in Logic, all we do is double tap it. Then we go down to File and then Reverse. Easy as that. Then the whole thing's reversed, so you just hit play. Perfect. And there we go. It's literally as easy as that. Now, because we've hit the file button, that means that the original file is now reversed. So if you drag and drop that file anywhere, it should be reversed. I'm going to check that by going into my downloads where it is. Hit play. There it is, reversed. So we don't even have to export it. I'm going to prove this by exiting out of Logic, don't save, and then just playing the audio file. There. So all we've done is just we've reversed it that way. That's just how I like to do it because I tend to work with loads of audio files, so it's a lot easier to go bam, 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 bam. But if that doesn't work for you and you've got a quick way, please comment it down below so we can all learn. So once you've got your sample, then it's just a case of importing it to your sample pad. If you've got an SPD and are not sure how to use this, by all means check out this video where we run through how to import it via a computer or a USB stick. Okay, so we've got everything set up. The sample is on the SPD. It's set up in a comfortable place on one of the pads. It's looking good, it's feeling good. Okay, now here's a quick tip. Depending on the sample you're using will depend on how the kit will sound. So in my example, I've got quite a beefy, quite a fat sound going on. Okay, so with my snare, because it's triggered, I don't have to worry about it too much. But if it wasn't, then I'd use something like a big fat snare drum skin on it, or what I've done is I've just cut out an old bass drum skin on the size of my snare drum, whack it on there, and you get that sound. It's real nice. So that's just something to bear in mind when you're using it, because as we've said in previous videos, when you're using the SPD, it's to enhance your playing and not be a completely separate sound completely. The other thing you can do is just tune your top head super, super low, all nice and flappy like, and that will get you that really chunky sound. So the sample I'm using is quite quick, okay? And you want to experiment on how quick yours is because that depends on when you hit it. I'm just gonna hit the sample, see how quick it is, and see if then I can hit the snare straight away to get the ending of that sample. Check it out. So my sample's about the length of a 16th note, give or take. Okay, so I'm going to want to play that sample about a 16th note before I play the actual snare. Okay, it sounds like this. So now it's just a case of getting comfy when playing it, okay? So in the last example, it was just a straight 8th note rock groove, nice and easy. From there, you just start to embellish it. So you add more bass drums, or you add some hi-hats, or you play a 16th note groove on the hi-hat, things like that. Like I said, I'm using a trigger on the kick and snare. These are both just Roland triggers, just standard. I think the snare's a dual trigger and the kick's just a standard kick trigger. I've got the kick Fat 4 on the bass drum and then the 1984 snare, which is also being reversed on the snare drum, and it just creates a slightly chunkier sound. So just experiment with embellishing your playing and see what you come up with. And that's it. Hopefully that should cover some of your reverse snare needs. Feel free to develop this further, and obviously if you do and put it on Instagram, please tag us because I'd love to see your playing. And of course, if you have any other ideas, please comment them down below. So don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for all of our shiny new videos, and I will see you in the next one.